This is Thomas from Before the Dawn, and you are watching CMS TV.
It is your classic metal show right here on the classicmetalshow.com. That is WASP with Harder, Faster.
Now, see, dude, that's one of those songs where I complain about having to cut it off to fucking get back into the connection. I love that.
That's a song that you really dig, huh?
Really dig that song a lot.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you compile all the songs that you absolutely hate?
Just, dude, anything from Bret Michaels.
And that'll be the song that I play before I go back into a break. That way you don't feel like you're missing something by cutting it off.
How about this? I will make both myself and Jim Nostradamus happy. You can come back from every break with a song from Nostradamus.
Nice.
Then I'll know that it's time, and and Jim will be happy, and I won't miss a goddamn thing.
Sure. Sure. So is your friend Doug still hanging in there, or is he gone?
Long gone.
Long gone.
During the Night Ranger break, he was out.
He says, I'm out of here. The wife is going to beat my ass with a tie stick.
She's going to put fucking bamboo shivs in between my fingernails.
Nice. Well, apparently WASP is working on a brand new release due out next year.
And you can buy it in every church in the country, right?
It's called Golgotha.
Now, what does that even mean? Do you know?
Well, actually, Blackie explains it.
Okay.
That it means the area of death.
Oh, boy.
And it basically talks about way back in the days of Christ, where everything around the Calvary Hill was the area of death.
Can't he just go back to being Blackie Lawless?
No, because he's a born-again Christian now.
It's okay, so that's the character.
Well, but he explains, where he's at with his life right now.
Okay.
And that's a good question, because he actually addresses what you're talking about here.
All right, good.
Lawless was asked about his statements in the past interviews that he will never perform WASP a classic Animal Fuck Like a Beast live again.
Okay.
Because of his religious faith.
Mm-hmm.
So his answer to that is, I look at it like this.
Okay.
I am a representative of the most high God.
Oh, boy.
But I have to be very careful about the things I say and do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to answer one day for these things that I've done.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that when I do, that my slate is clean.
Okay.
But equally as important as that, I think I've been given an opportunity to stand in front of people, and you're either going to say something positive or you're going to say something mindless.
Thank you, Walrus.
There's no in between. It's a very black and white thing here.
But I mean, that's a song everybody liked.
The ink is black, the page is white.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to really cut stuff out of his career that he should never play again, anything from Hell Dorado.
Right.
Just pretend that album doesn't exist.
Sure. You're either one or the other, and I'm just trying to be my best. I'm not saying that I'm doing it all the time, but I'm trying my best to say something that I think could help somebody's life.
All right.
So he's on the walrus kick. He's doing something very positive.
And that makes it tough to be a fan.
It is.
Because, I mean, look, and again, like Blackie, I've interviewed Blackie several times, and I'm going to definitely ask him this question when we get him on once the record comes out.
Sure.
I'm going to ask him how he reacts to people that are no longer fans because he's letting his faith into his craft.
Right.
Because he built himself a career doing something else. He built his name, he built his legacy, and the truth is the reason he'll be able to sell this record, Golgotha or whatever it's called, is because of Fuck Like the Beast, is because of Ball Crusher, is because of Love Machine, is because of Jack Action, right?
Well, he actually addresses that.
Okay. I didn't read this.
Blackie spoke about his early life as a born-again Christian and his decision to leave the church at age 18, only to return to his Christian faith 20 years later.
Okay.
Like a lot of people, organized religion was telling me things that I didn't see in the Bible, he explained. And so for 20 years after I left the church, I walked around with all these things that I had been taught, and I thought I was mad at God.
Okay.
And after 20 years, I realized I was not mad at God. I was mad at man for the institutionalized thinking that I had been indoctrinated with.
Okay, it's a fair point.
And I discovered then, whether it's the Bible or anything else you've ever want to know in life, don't listen to somebody else telling you. If you want to find out, go out and find out for yourself.
Yeah.
Because ultimately you are going to be responsible for yourself. And so that's what I did. And when I did that, I realized, like, I wasn't mad at God anymore. These guys that had been telling me this stuff for the longest time, I realized that they had an agenda.
Yeah, but is he not now perpetrating a fraud by touring as WASP?
No, he's eliminated the quote unquote the evil stuff.
Oh, he hasn't eliminated it. That's where I disagree with you fully. He has not eliminated it. He may have eliminated it from his life, but he continues to profit from from his past fame or glory or whatever you want to call it. Nobody's going to WASP shows to see the Dominator show songs.
Sure.
People are going to see the songs from Last Command and Headless Children and Self-Titled.
Right.
That's what people are going to see.
Sure.
And those are the songs that were about fucking and killing and all that stuff, and kill, fuck, die, and all that type of a thing. That's why WASP has a legacy. So if he was true, I can't wait to interview him.
Well, we actually spoke about this about 4 years ago,
and I don't remember what his answer was, but his answer could not.
No, we didn't ask him. You and I spoke about this on the show because when Dominator came out,
yeah,
I don't think he did a lot of press, and we were never offered an interview, but we had actually spoken about what we would ask him if we were given the opportunity.
Don't you think that that's a fair question?
Oh, it's absolutely a fair question. I think unlike a lot of quote-unquote journalists or rock music journalists, whatever, we would definitely get into the real meat of the matter where he's concerned.
Because I'm not willing to accept that he can't sing certain songs, but he can accept money from the legacy of singing those songs.
Sure.
That, to me, is hypocritical.
Well, I'm going to agree with you there. I mean, I often thought how somebody who lived a life of decadence and who continues touring or performing under their past legacy, but here's a guy, for one guy, who's been on the show and who's actually talked about his faith, etc., is Nico McBrain of Iron Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually had him on the show where I've interviewed him and I've asked him, well, you're touting yourself as this born again Christian, but you're still touring with Iron Maiden and making your money. And, Iron Maiden, they're not the most demonic band out there.
Oh, but their songs are about death and killing.
It is. And their imagery.
Yeah, sure.
And I asked him how he balances the two.
Right.
And, again, it all boils down to, well, I still play drums for them and so on and so forth, but it's the spirit in which I do it makes the difference.
Okay, and you know what? I'm fine with that point. Nico as the drummer, I'm fine with that point. But I'm going to throw, Fuck Like a Beast off the table for a minute. Because there's other songs that he is singing that are still not of a faith-based perspective.
Well, look at
Dave, in Texas.
Well, how about Dave Mustaine?
Yeah, Dave Mustaine's another one, but I mean, I'm talking specifically about Blackie.
Okay.
Hey metalheads, tired of waiting for new episodes? Crave the real raw classic metal show? For just $4.99 a month, you can become a CMS VIP. You get every episode a full week early, completely uncensored, and 100% commercial free. It's the only place to interact directly with the show, plus you score the Fast Pass, so your song requests get bumped straight to the head of the line on every live version. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe right now at classicmetalshow.locals.com and become a CMS VIP today.
With Blackie, what is Blind in Texas about? It's getting
totally drunk in Texas.
It's about excess. It's about gluttony. It's about everything that's a fucking problem in the Bible,
in the faith-based community.
Yeah, in the faith-based community. But he's still going to end every show with that.
Sure.
He's still going to sing L-O-V-E, Get Inside My Love Machine.
Right.
What's that about? Pussy.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's...
Well, I guess the fair question, if and when we get a chance to speak with him, is what other songs do you feel are not appropriate for your set to represent who you believe you to be today?
Well, see, and my question is even further than that. My question is, why don't you tour as Blackie Lawless? Because A, it's not WASP anymore for more than one reason. I can accept that you own the name, so you're still WASP, but when there's no players left and the message isn't the same anymore, now you're not the same band.
Right. Well, I kind of compare Blackie to Dave Mustaine because,
sure,
for all intents and purposes, Dave Mustaine is Megadeth.
Yeah. Oh, certainly.
Blackie is WASP.
Right. Sure.
But the question I have is, even though there's been a revolving door of players in the WASP camp, how does he maintain that exact same WASP sound?
Yeah.
That's a good one, because his sound, or the WASP sound, I should say, has not deviated at all.
Yeah. The only place that it is a little bit different is on Crimson Idol. The guitar sound.
I would say KFD was a little bit different because they went with more of a industrial sound.
I'm just talking about the guitar tone itself.
Sure.
Because Blackie played it all.
Right.
It was completely different than any other record.
Right. But KFD was more almost industrial or electronic in a lot of ways.
And awesome.
It was a great record. It was a solid record. But still, even though they upgraded the sound, it was still WASP.
Yeah, it certainly was.
So that's one of those bands, no matter what they do, changing band members, etc., that they still retain that signature sound.
Oh, sure, definitely do.
So I'm curious as to how that happens, because he's had a revolving door of guitarists and drummers and bassists and so forth. So how do you do that? How do you maintain that sound and that attitude and that vibe?
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. That's going to be the most hardcore interview Blackie does of that whole tour.
I would agree with that.
We're not going to cut him. You know what? It's one of those things where me and you don't really cater to anybody anyway.
But I've interviewed Blackie at least a half a dozen times.
But I think the big thing that's going to be a big part of it is that you and I are such uber fans of WASP that the questions are not going to be, dude, it's great that you're back out again. What's that like? It's not going to be a Natalie interview. It's going to be.
Let me tell you something, a personal story about myself and Blackie.
Okay.
Back on what was that greatest hits tour that they had? What was that? The
best of the beast,
the best of the best, or something.
Best of the beast, right?
Well, I had an opportunity to interview Blackie. They were playing at the Odeon.
Right.
And I was scheduled to go meet with him early, which I did.
Okay.
And I went upstairs, and it was just Blackie and I, and we were locked away in a room, and he told his manager that he didn't want to be interrupted for an hour.
Right.
And I think I have that tape, and if I can, somehow transfer that tape over to a digital domain, I'll do that.
Okay.
But it was a really good interview, and this was at the time. Do you remember the baseball player John Rocker?
Sure.
Remember, he was vilified for making quote unquote racial statements.
Yeah, sure.
Remember all that?
Yeah.
Well, this was at that time.
Okay.
Now, Blackie is a huge baseball fan.
Right.
He's a New York Yankees fan.
Okay.
And the interview that I did with him for an hour did not even touch on music at all.
Nice.
Didn't touch music, didn't talk about the tour, didn't talk about their album, didn't talk about nothing. I just talked about social commentary.
Right, okay.
Talked about John Rocker, talked about I think at the time, this was the late 90s, mind you. This was when, the big discussion about like ADD was a big deal back then.
Okay.
Ritalin and ADD and, all that kind of crap.
Right.
So I talked about political stuff. I talked about social stuff. I stayed purposely away from music.
Okay.
And after the interview was over, he said, "This is the best interview I've ever had."
Right.
Because I didn't even get into the music at all.
Okay.
And he liked that. And then after subsequent interviews, when what was that, Dying for the World was released.
Right.
And what was the one before that?
Holy Terror.
Holy Terror was released. I interviewed him for both of those records.
Okay.
And all I had to do is remind him who I was. I said, "You remember me? I did the John Rocker interview with you." "Oh, yeah. Well, I was scheduled to do an interview with him on a Friday. It was going to be a pre-recorded interview when I was still on WSTB.
Okay.
And I told him who I was.
Yeah.
And I said, well, this is going to be played on the show tomorrow.
Right.
And he said to me, "Oh, you're live tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Dude, why are we doing a pre-record?" He said, "Why don't I just call into the show and we'll do this live?"
Okay.
And I said, "That's great with me." And he said, "Give me the number. I'll call tomorrow and we'll just do this live."
Nice.
And we did.
Nice. That's awesome.
Because he remembered.
Right.
And he was just like, "Yeah, this is like old home week for me." So, the times that I have interviewed him, and the last time I interviewed him was during the the release of that double CD.
Oh, the Neon Gods.
Neon Gods. And I asked, and that's when all the shit hit the fan with Frankie Banali.
Right.
Because, Frankie had apparently done the drum tracks for, quite a few of the songs, and they had a falling out, and then Blackie didn't credit him on the record, and then I talked to Frankie, and then it got ugly, and that's, when CC Banana was still with us.
Right.
He had asked Frankie about the whole interview, and, well, I heard on the Classic Metal Show that when you talked to Neely about your participation in the, what was it called again?
The Neon God.
The Neon God thing, that you didn't get credited on the, on the drum tracks. He was just like, "Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about that." So it actually made like Metal Sludge, and it was like on Blabbermouth and all that shit. And it made me look like I was the bad guy or something for asking the question.
And Frankie hasn't been back since.
No, he hasn't been back since. It left him a bad taste in his mouth.
I guess.
Ever since then.
And that's pretty sad.
It is. Because I used to talk to him on Instant Messenger and all kinds of shit. But after that Blackie interview, and Blackie was on the show and he talked about all that, it was just like, all right, nice knowing you.
See, I still talk to Frankie, but every time I bring up coming on the show, he's like, "Oh, I don't know, if we have the time." Whatever, dude.
So
I sure ain't gonna beg you.
Yeah. So WASP released Dominator, and they released what was that other one?
What, before Dominator?
Yeah, it was
Babylon.
Babylon.
Right.
Very solid discs, both of them.
Yeah, they were good.
But I don't think he did any press for those.
No, he didn't tour either.
Yeah, we didn't get any offer to do any press or whatever, but I thought they were solid discs.
They were good. They were solid.
Yeah. But after El Dorado, when he did, Dying for the World and Dominator and Babylon and, all that stuff. He hasn't done one bad disc since.
The only bad disc in the catalog is Eldorado.
But the thing is he stumbled that Eldorado came out after KFD.
Yeah.
And that was like shit.
Yeah, that was so bad.
But after that,
he's been great.
Holy Terror was kick-ass. Babylon was kick-ass. Dominator was kick-ass.
Mm-hmm.
Neon God Parts 1 and 2 was kick-ass.
Yeah.
I mean,
those are probably the two weakest.
Solid stuff, though, overall, though.
Yeah, they were solid, but they're probably the two weakest of the post-Headless Children era.
Sure. Hail and Kill Caller, you're on the air.
I know he did some press for Babylon. You remember, at first it wasn't released in America. It was like an import from Europe.
Right.
Just the way Crimson Idol was for a year. Well, he did an interview with, I probably told this story before, but he did an interview with XM on, when it was still just XM and not Sirius, on the Boneyard. And he went into this diatribe about downloading, basically, and saying that kids aren't, when I was a kid, we'd save our lunch money and we'd buy a record. If we wanted it bad, we'd save up for it. But now kids do all this shit. Basically bitching about people downloading his record when his record isn't even available for purchase in America.
Right.
It's like, how fucking out of touch are you, you old man?
Well, everybody and their brother can blame downloading for the downfall of their career or music business, etc. But the truth of the matter is that the record labels did not prepare for, the future of music.
No, that's always been my point. They didn't. The big record labels have done it to themselves.
They did. Their business model was flawed, and it did not change with the times.
No, I mean, and as much as those guys have bitched about record labels in the past, and now the record labels are crumbling, now they're pissing and moaning about fans downloading.
Yeah, I think they've pretty much stopped on that, though.
Yeah, because I think they finally saw the light. It's just like there's really nothing you can do about it now.
Now they give it all away for free anyway.
Yeah, and not to go back to the Tesla thing, it's funny they're now pining for the days of vinyl when just last week or 2 weeks ago, Brian Wheat gave an interview for BWBK where he basically told Geffen to fuck off. So, it's what I would call a queer duality.
Well, the thing is too with the industry today is it's hard for them to bitch about downloading today when they give it all away for free. I mean, there's record label. Earache Records is a pretty large independent label. They're definitely an independent label, but they're one of the bigger ones out there. And they've literally got their whole catalog, everything that they've ever put out in 20 years, available online to listen to stream for free. The whole albums.
Like on Spotify or what?
No, on their website.
Really?
On earacherecords.com or whatever their earache.com, whatever their website is. And almost all of the bands are available now on Spotify, and
I mean, Earache, is it all for streaming or just
it's streaming. It's just streaming, but it's
just one extra step to just pull up Audacity and just record.
Yeah, if you really want to, but why do you need to? I mean, that's kind of what they're trying to say now, is that you don't have to have a collection.
Yeah, because streaming is killing the downloading.
Well, it's just the way of the future. I mean, 5 years from now, nobody's going to have MP3s. People just run everything off of a stream.
Nobody's going to have MP3s except me, probably.
Oh, me too. I mean, I like having MP3s as well, but you know what? I use Spotify 50-50 with my listening anymore, and I have access to everything. It's just
I haven't
easy.
discovered Spotify yet. I know what it is, but I haven't actually used it.
Hey, go check it out. I mean, even if you have a free account, the only thing you have to put up with is every now and again they play an ad. But it lasts like 25 seconds.
It's not a big deal.
Oh, well, hell, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Just download their player, go look for whatever you're looking for, and just play their catalog. There's one night I few nights I've sat here in the studio with the Spotify and just sit there and pick and choose a bunch of different songs and, hey, what about this band? And I haven't heard this in like 20 years, and I wonder if they have that. And I look it up, and wow, I haven't heard that song in a long time, and I just play it, and then go move on to the next song.
And before you know it, you're knee deep in McQueen Street or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I look at the clock, it's like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm just, holy shit, I've been sitting here for 4 hours just playing random tunes.
I was going to say, I wouldn't leave the house for a fucking week.
Probably.
Geez. As far as Blackie goes, though, the whole religious conversion thing, I mean, didn't the Beastie Boys do this thing where they said they wouldn't play Paul Revere live anymore because, that's the wiffle bat thing?
Yep, they did.
And I don't know. I mean,
that is the exact point when you stop being a musician and start being an artist. When you start thinking that your songs are more meaningful than the average person thinks they are.
I think Blackie's kind of been on that thing for a long time, at least since Headless Children. I mean, he was giving interviews back then where he talked about wanting to be a voice for the people and wanted to say something more than, fuck, suck, slurp, or whatever.
Right. Right.
But, I mean, he says there's a difference. You can say something positive or you can say something mindless. To me, I think you can use negative imagery to say something that's not necessarily negative, but just makes people think.
Right.
It doesn't have to be brainless just because it's not, yay, you could do it.
Well, that's it.
Humanity, yes.
That is true.
You don't got to be fucking up with people or whoever.
Negativity makes you think way more than positivity.
Hell yes.
I agree.
That's something that I don't know. As far as the born again converts, I would take Blackie over Mustaine because I think Mustaine just says whatever he just believes the last thing that he heard.
There is truth to that. He does change his message often.
And plus, I don't think...
Yeah, we've heard Mustaine change his opinion so many fucking times. Blackie, I think, actually thinks about stuff.
Well, I don't think Blackie has been immersed in the whole drug culture either.
Wasn't this guy addicted to crack and gave himself a heart attack?
I have no idea.
I think that is true. I think Blackie had his share of drug abuse problems, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't say he's squeaky clean.
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that.
I think Blackie is more of a thinking kind of guy than Mustaine is. Mustaine, he's like the smartest guy in the room if it's a room full of dummies. But I think probably Blackie could probably, in a debate team, Blackie would probably have him beat.
Oh, yeah. Blackie's a smart cat.
Yeah, no argument there. It's just like Mustaine is kind of like the smartest guy working in the cold storage facility, so to speak.
Right, sure.
Nothing against any of you cats that work in cold storage.
All right, Doghouse.
That is all.
All right, hail and kill.
Fuck you, pal.
All right, here's a little Blackie for you.
All right.
Hang on, I'll knock that out here.
I got into rock and roll to get my dick sucked. Let's face it, I'm not going to lie about it. Of course, as you get older, other things become important. I'm not saying that that's still not a priority, but there are other things that are important in your life. A rock band will never change the world. Never. Hey, the closest thing we've ever seen is Elvis and the Beatles. And about the most they did, they influenced people socially. But let's face it, you start dealing with politics, and these guys are fucking heavy. They are heavy. And they don't give a flying fuck what goes on in show business. The only thing they care about in show business is who they can use to garner votes for them when it comes to an election. These guys run the goddamn world. I've been given a gift that I can speak. I'm aware of it, and I know that out of the mouth comes the power to change. I do envision a time 10, 15 years from now where I'd be a senator. I've got very definite ideas on doing things like this.
Okay.
New York's heavy metal titans are back! After 10 years, Anthrax unleashes their 12th studio album, Cursum Perficio, September 18th. This is the sound of legends completing their journey. Cursum Perficio, my journey is over. First single, It's for the Kids, is a buzzsaw riff monster! Explosive drums, howling hooks, and pure Anthrax destruction! Scott Ian, Charlie Benante, Frank Bello, Joey Belladonna, and Jonathan DeNice deliver the thrash masterpiece you've been waiting for! Get the 2-disc vinyl set right now, available at the bottom of your screen. Anthrax, Cursum Perficio, September 18th. This is the one you've been waiting for.
Didn't quite play out that way, now did it?
No, but that was one of the questions that I asked him in that interview that I did.
Yeah.
I said, you had made a statement about, becoming a senator or politician.
Right.
And he said, well, I thought about that, and that thought was, attractive to me.
Uh-huh.
But because of the way that I think and the way that I conduct myself, he said, what good would my voice be if I was standing on one side of the room and everybody was standing on the other side of the room?
Right.
He said, no one would side with me.
Right.
And he said it would just be a fruitless effort.
That's funny.
So I have to dig that interview out and see if I can convert it over to digital and have something for you. But it was a really good interview. At least I thought it was.
Sure, definitely.
But good stuff.
Hey metalheads! Tired of the same old boring radio? Crank it up and dive into CMS 24/7 at cmsradio.net. Non-stop, the greatest, wildest segments from over 20 years of the classic metal show. Uncensored, unfiltered, and completely insane. Hear Neely's legendary rants, Chris losing his mind, and every wild character that made the show a cult classic. Plus, catch the latest full episode with all the music every single day at noon Eastern. Lock in now at cmsradio.net and feel the hilarity, the chaos, and the glory of metal history. CMS 24/7, because CMS lunacy never sleeps.